Hi, Professor Vishal Taylor. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I teach you hydroelectric power plant with complete animations of hydropower plant, layout of hydroelectric power plants, and function of various component of hydroelectric power plant. So in this figure, you see this part is known as the dam, and the dam is used to increase the water level in a rivers. So we move towards the animations. In the animations we understand each and every component. So it is the headrest. Headrest means upper part is known as the headrest. In our human body, our upper part is known as the head. So similarly in hydroelectric plant, the upper part is known as the headrest and the bottom part is known as the tail rest. So in the headrest, the first component is it's known as the dam. Okay, so what is the meaning of dam? The dam is built across the rivers. That means dam is stop the flow of water in the river. Okay, so water is stopped from the dam and its water is not flowing ahead. Okay, function of the dam is to increase the height of the water level behind the dam. Means we construct the dam, then what happens, water level is used or water level is increased in the dam, and this water is used to produce the electric power, and this dam is increase the reservoir capacity, and the dam is also increase the working head of the power plants, and the dam is generally made from a concrete. Okay, so dam is generally construct by using the concretes. Now another component is the catchment area and reservoirs that are not indicated in these animations or a layout, but it the important components to explain when the question is asked in the examinations. So next component is the catchment area. So from this word we can understand what is the meaning of catchment. So in the cricket, if some fielders is catch the ball, okay, means they are catching the ball. Similarly in hydroelectric power plant, the area which catch the water of the rain and supplying into the dam, it is known as the catchment area. Means the area behind this dam is known as the catchment area. Okay, so from word we can understand catchment means catching the water of the rainy seasons and supplying into the dam. Those area is known as the catchment area. So area from this dam to the origins of a river is known as the catchment area for a particular dam, and this rainly water is supplying into the dam. It is known as the catchment area. Now water coming out from this catchment area is supplying to the dam, and this water is stored in a particular area. This area is known as the reservoirs. Okay, so in this reservoir water level is increased during the rainy seasons because of the water is coming from the catchment area. So reservoir, the whole area available from the catchment area is collected into the reservoirs behind the dam. The function is to store the water during the rainy seasons and supplying the water during the dry seasons. And purpose of storing water in the reservoir is get to uniform power output throughout the year. The next component is the trash rack. So trash rack is provided in the bottom parts of the dam, and the trash rack is used to avoid the supply of some debris from the waters. Okay, so the trash rack is prevent the entries of debris. If debris is supplied from this dam, then it's choke up the penstock, or if pass from the penstock, then it strike with the runner and is damage our turbine runners. So trash rack is used to avoid the supply of debris. Before moving ahead, I request to subscribe my channels and like the video. Subscribe the channels by pressing the subscribe buttons and also press the bell icon for getting the continuous update. Now next component is the penstock. This part is known as the penstock. Now, what is the meaning of penstock? The penstock is supplying the water from this headrace or a reservoirs to the turbine. This is known as the penstock. So, function is to carry the water or supply the water from the reservoirs to the turbine. It is a pipe of larger diameters. It's circular in sections and it is generally made from a steels or a reinforced concrete. Okay, so penstock is also the main component because it's supplying the water from reservoirs to the turbine. Now here we provide the one inlet valve. So this inlet valve, by regulating the flow of the water from inlet valve from the governing mechanisms in any turbine. After that, here this green part is the nozzles. Nozzle is convert the pressure energy of the water into kinetic energy. Then after, the water coming out from this nozzle is strike to this blade of the turbine. So here this vertical part is the shaft and this dark orange color part is the turbine blades. So water is strike to the turbine blades and turbine is start to rotate. So what is our next component? Next component is the turbine. The turbine is also known as the prime mover. So what is the function of turbines? To convert the kinetic energy coming out from these nozzles into the mechanical energy. Okay, and this mechanical energy of the turbine is supplied to this generator. So generator and turbine is generally installed on the one common shaft. Okay, so function of the generator is to convert the mechanical energy into the electrical energy. It is used to produce electricity from the turbine. So there are various types of generators used in hydropower plant like the synchronized generators, DC generators and induction generators. Then after this produced electricity is supplied into the control room. Then after controlling it is to the transmission line, and from the transmission line it's going to the different substations. Then after the electricity is reached to our home. Now there are another remaining components that we learn in this detail. That is the powerhouse. The powerhouse is consists of the substructures of support hydraulic and electric equipment. Means this hydraulic and electric means turbine and generators it put in a one house, and this house is known as the powerhouse. Now from this turbine water is coming out. So at the outlet of the turbine we putting the one component, and this component is known as the draft tubes. Okay, the draft tube is generally used in reaction turbine. It is not in impulse turbine. The draft tube is essential parts of this reaction turbine, and it discharge the water from exit of the turbines to the tail race. If you want to learn the detail draft tubes in the details, then go from the I symbol on the top right screen, click there and you watch the video. Next component is the tail race. So here the part is tail race. So what is the function of tail race? It is a passage for discharging the waters that is coming out from the turbine. It's known as the tail race. Now then after another important component, that is a surge tank. The surge tank question is also asked in a 3 to 4 mark separate. So what is the function of surge tank? Why it is the use? So this surge tank is installed between the damp and the turbine, or it is installed in between of the penstock. Okay, so this is the surge tank. Now what is the meaning of surge tank and what is the functions? So surge tank it's provide the better regulations of water in a system during the variable load conditions. Means when the load on the turbine is changed, at that time we required to control the flow rate of the water or quantity of the waters. So we changing this quantity of waters by inlet valve. Okay, so what happened when we close the inlet valve? At that time water level in the penstock is increased, it's increased the pressure. If the pressure is increased above certain level, then are the possibility of water hammer effect, and due to water hammer effect the penstock is the collapse. So for avoiding this water hammer effect we are providing this surge tank. So the pressure in the penstock is increased due to sudden increase in the rate of water flow. Okay, so when we close this inlet valve, the water level in pressure is increased in penstock. when we close this inlet valve, pressure is reduced inside the penstock. When the pressure is reduced, we are required to supply the more water. So water stored in the salt tank is supplied when the pressure is reduced, and when the pressure in the penstock is increased, at that time water is stored into the salt tank. Okay, so these are the important functions of the salt tank. Why the salt tank is used? To avoid the water hammer effect in the penstock. If the water hammer effect is produced inside the penstock, it's damage or collapse the penstock. Next component is the spillway. In a different book, the spillway is given inside the dam, so it is a wrong way. The spillway is the outer body of this dam, and the function of the function of the spillway is to discharge the major floods without damaging the dam. Means when the dam is overflow, at that time water is come from this dam, and the water is flow with impact on this land of this dam, means here. Okay, so water is strike with very heavy impact force. So due to the impact force, there is a possibility of damage of this land. Okay, so in the next figure I explain you the which part is known as the spillway. Okay, so for the major floods without damaging, we are use the spillway. Means when we discharging the water, okay, so at that time there is a possibility of damage of this dam surface. So avoiding that, we are providing the spillway. Okay, now this is the last point, that is a spillway. So this part, there is a slope part of this dam construction, is the known as the spillway. So water level is increased and water is flowing from the dam. If we not providing this slope, then the water is come with the heavy impact force, and it's directly erode the surface or this land of this dam, and it's also create the damage of this construction of the dam. For avoiding that, we are providing the spillway. Thank you for watching this video. If you learn, then like the video, subscribe the channels and share with your friends.